Hey everyone, we're going to be doing a deck profile today of Reindeer. So this is an old Bermuda Triangle deck, just like the Riviere deck that I did earlier this week or something like that. And with that, it isn't a competitive deck, however, it is really fun to play and it's also really cheap as well to build. So if you are looking forward to building some kind of Bermuda deck, definitely try out Reindeer as well as the Riviere deck as well. So I'll probably leave a link for the Riviere deck in the description below if you haven't seen it yet. But this deck focuses on having the grade 3s, and basically in your trigger checks you want to drive check a grade 3 to get off the effects. So it's pretty nice because it's kind of like your grade 3s are your additional triggers as well. So yeah, let's just go over this deck. I am playing a proxy of the Reindeer Stride because I don't actually have the Stride yet, but I do recommend that you buy 4 of those if you can, or look for them. It's not expensive or anything, it's just hard to find. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be awesome. If you can get an entire deck off someone, then you should have no problem at all. So to start things off, we're playing our Colorful Smiling Frat, which is our starter for the deck, and its skill is you can counterblast 1, put this card in your soul. At the end of the battle that this unit boosted, if you have a Vanguard with Reindeer in its card name, you can pay that cost, choose up to one of your rear guards, return it to your hand, and then choose 2 cards from your hand and call it to separate rear circles. So that's a really nice skill to get in additional attacks, and you can also bounce back cards back to your hand again. So you can easily just call a trigger unit, bounce that trigger unit to the hand, and then call 2 different units instead. So really nice starter there. And of course it's supporting Reindeer as well. Okay, so moving on to grade 3s, we're going to be playing 4 of the Peaceful Voice Reindeer, which is obviously the new version of her. And we are also going to be playing Velvet Voice Reindeer, which is the original version of her. I don't have the summer version, but still really nice to have the card itself. So Peaceful Voice Reindeer is meant to have a support for the original one because it actually has a rearguard skill in addition to its Vanguard skill as well. So we'll go over the original ones first. So its original skill is when this unit's drive check reveals a grade 3 Bermuda Triangle, you can pay the cost, which is choose one of your Bermuda Triangle rearguards and return it to the hand. And then if you do, you can choose up to 1 Bermuda Triangle from your hand and call it to an open rear circle. Now, that's basically allowing you to switch out cards from your hand and rear circle to get in additional attacks. And it's also on 10,000, which is kind of unfortunate for power, which is why we're mostly going to be focusing on Peaceful Voice Reindeer. So what you want is you want Velvet Voice Reindeer as your Vanguard, and you want Peaceful Voice Reindeer as your rear circle Vanguard. And the awesome thing is its rear circle effect or skill is at the end of the battle that your drive check revealed a card with Reindeer in its card name. If this unit is standing, you can pay the cost, which is Counterblast 2. If you do, move this unit to your Vanguard circle, and this unit gets minus drive 1 until end of turn. So it's really nice because, of course, this unit has to be standing in your rear circle, but basically after your Vanguard already attacked, you can pretty much use her skill to put her on the Vanguard circle, and then you can do another attack. So it's quite nice, and it's kind of like having an stride on the field, even though you aren't even striding yet. So if your opponent is still on grade 2 and everything, this is not a GB skill, so you can actually do it pretty early on in the game and actually get in quite a few drive checks. So that's a triple drive right there. But her Vanguard skill is when your drive check actually reveals a grade 3 card, you can discard a card. Actually, no, you can choose a card from your hand and put it into your soul. My mistake. And if you do, choose one of your rear guards, bounce it back to your hand, and if there is a card named Velvet Voice Reindeer, which is obviously her, or in your trigger zone, this unit gets an additional drive. So if you combo these 2 cards well, and if things go well in the drive checks, then you can potentially do a quadruple drive on one turn with just the grade 3s. And it's actually 2 separate attacks as well. It's one attack from Velvet Voice Reindeer and one attack from Peaceful Voice Reindeer, which is definitely a really nice thing that I like about this deck. And of course, she's also one of my most favorite artworks in terms of all the Bermuda Triangle decks as well. For the rest of the deck, everything is actually Reindeer support, except for the triggers, of course, because there aren't actually any trigger support for Reindeer. But every other card out there, we are basically using every single Reindeer support there is. So for grade 2s, we're playing Inspect Sisters Robel. Its skill is while it's in the trigger zone, so when you're drive checking her in the trigger, if you have a Vanguard of Reindeer, this card gets an extra grade, so it becomes a grade 3, which is really nice because obviously this is Reindeer. And its other skill is when this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, and if you have a Vanguard with Reindeer in its card name, you can pay the cost, which is Soul Blast 1, and put this unit on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, draw 2 cards. So a great way to replenish your hand, and that's one thing I like about Bermuda Triangles, is that they are able to support themselves in terms of card advantage or hand advantage. So we're also playing 4 Shyness Laguna Lapla. Her skill is when your drive check reveals a grade 3, and if you have a Reindeer in your Vanguard circle, you can pay the cost, which is Soul Blast 1. And if you do, choose up to 1 card from your hand, call it to an open rear circle, and that unit gets plus 2000 until end of turn. So definitely a really nice card, and really nice because it's actually focusing on utilizing the Bermuda Triangle mechanic of bouncing to the hand and calling more to gain additional attacks. The last grade 2s we're playing is 4 of the Happy Ears Meloville. When your drive check reveals a grade 3, and if you have Reindeer in your Vanguard circle, you can return this card to your hand. If you do, choose 2 of your units, and they get plus 3000. One thing is that you can choose up to 2, so it's really nice there, and they also get plus 3000, so it makes it really easy to attack into your opponent's Vanguard. So these are all Reindeer support, and they all generally have the same requirements. As long as you have Reindeer in the Vanguard circle, you can activate this. And of course, you have to drive check a grade 3, which Robel made it really easy already. Alright, so moving on to grade 1s, we're just going to be playing 4 of the generic perfect guards. There are no Reindeer specific perfect guards out there, so this is what we're going to be playing. We are going to be playing Dash Sisters Rabel, which is kind of like the secondary version of Robel, the grade 2. And its trigger effect is if you have Reindeer, if your Vanguard has Reindeer in its card name, then this unit gets plus 2 grade. So it becomes a grade 3 again. So again, helping you out with the whole checking grade 3. And its regular skill in the rear circle is when you drive check reveals a grade 3 card. If you have a Vanguard with Reindeer in its card name, you can put this card on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card, shuffle your deck, and countercharge 1, which is really nice to replenish your damage zone. Then we are also going to be playing 3 Stride Fighters. We don't really want to play any other of the cards. I think 3 Stride Fighters will definitely help you stride, because I want the other cards to actually focus on the actual combos itself, which is having Velvet Voice and Peaceful Voice in the rear circle, and then after Velvet Voice attacks, you can use Peaceful Voice to put it on the Vanguard and do like that secondary Vanguard attack. And to end things off, we are playing 2 Piping Hot Swiffer. She's also a Reindeer support. Your unit named Velvet Voice Reindeer in the same column as this unit gets plus 1000, which it makes Velvet Voice Reindeer an 11k, which I felt like it should have been originally, but I guess it was an old card, and I guess it was their decision to make back then. Its other skill is, while it's in the back row of the rear circle, when your drive check reveals a grade 3 card, if you have a Vanguard with Reindeer in its card name, until end of this turn, at the end of the battle, move this unit to an open rear circle in the same column as this unit. Stand it, and this unit gets plus 4000 until end of turn. So really nice card there again to just get more additional attacks. Okay, so to end things off with triggers, we are playing 4 heals, and we are also playing a total of 8 crits, and then we'll end things off with 4 draws. Just because it's all Bermuda triangles, you want to have hand advantage here. It's just the whole focus of the deck. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's no really any support for triggers, so hopefully we do get it in the future, but for now, that's what we're just going to stick with. So for the G zone, we're just playing exactly what we played in the Riviere deck. So yeah, you can get like Olivia's instead of that. These cards help you bounce cards back to your hand. They have great utility. What I like about Bermuda Triangle Stride units is that it's actually very generic and it will work in almost any Bermuda deck you want to play. So that's what I like about it. I do recommend you get 4 of the Reindeer Strides, because that's definitely going to be something you would want to play in this deck. But overall, it's up to you on what you want to play for your Stride zone. It's completely up to you. And this deck overall is really fun to play. I also think it's really cheap, so definitely do check it out. If you want me to go over these G units, then do check out my Riviere deck profile, because I did go over all these units on why I specifically play them and why they're actually good to play. But for now, this is the deck profile, so I hope you guys actually enjoyed that, and I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.